What a difference a week makes. Hi, and welcome to the Monday Fantasy Baseball presented to you by Levitra here on CBSSports.com. I'm Amber Wilson. 7 days ago, we were talking about the dominating performance that the Cubs put on against the Chicago White Sox. A one-sided sweep at Wrigley solidified the Cubs as one of the best teams in baseball and had the White Sox just barely holding on in the AL Central. A short trip to the south side had everything going south for the Cubs as they were swept handily by the White Sox, getting outscored 21-9 in the three-game sweep. For the White Sox, Jermaine Dye has been carrying the load offensively. He'll miss playing the Cubs. He hit .458 with 3 homers and 9 RBI in 6 games, but just has been mashing all month long. He's hitting .330 in June with 9 homers and as many RBI as games played. He's also swiped 3 bases this month, which is 1 more than he did in all of 2007. And on the mound, it has been Mark Buehrle getting it done. He went 7 innings without giving up an earned run on Sunday, which tied for his shortest stint this month. He had gone at least 8 innings in his previous 4 starts and only yielded 8 earned runs the entire month. The White Sox still do have some stiff competition biting at their ankles. The Twins are only 1.5 games back, winners of 10 of their last 11, but the Detroit Tigers crept back into contention at the halfway point of the season. The Tigers, for the first time, are above 500 and just 5 games back of the Sox, but will have to try to get closer without the services of Maglio Ordonez. Mags was sent to the 15-day DL with a pulled muscle in his oblique in the middle of a 7-game hitting streak. Ordonez missed much of 2004-2005 with injuries, but has been pretty injury-free since. Hopefully he'll just miss 15 days and get right back into it. And Chipper Jones might soon follow Mags to the DL. Jones has been limited to pinch hitting since June 20th and might need 9 or 10 days to fully recover from a quad injury and should have been out of your fantasy lineup's last scoring period and at least the next 2 coming up. Eric Max off the disabled list. After the break, we'll bring him in to answer your questions. Stick around and we will be right back. And we welcome into the show senior fantasy baseball writer Eric Mack to answer some of your emails. Eric, let's start off with our first. Keith from San Francisco wants to know, what's the deal with pitcher Chris Young of the Padres? I'm starting to doubt his usefulness for the season, and I haven't heard anything about his rehab. Is he worth holding on to?
Yeah, absolutely. It was thought he might be out for the season after getting pummeled by that Albert Pujols liner, but now he's going to have surgery on his deviated septum so he could sleep better and get some rest, and it looks like he'll be back after the All-Star break at this point. The problem being now, though, the Padres don't project to score a lot of runs in the second half, and they're not going to be a team that wins at least half their games. So you're not going to have the fantasy ace you thought you could with Chris Young, but the good news is he is coming back now.
At least he's back. All right, Jerry from Arizona wants to know, who is the better outfield prospect, Jason Heward or Jordan Schaefer? I know Schaefer had some problems with HGH, but overall, who's better?
Schaefer can arrive sooner. He's in Double-A now, back from that 50-game suspension. Speed and power can help the Braves in the second half of this year. But I think Heward is the better long-term prospect. He's the teenager back in Class A. He can hit 300, hit 30 homers long-term. So if you're in long-term keeper league, Heward is your guy. If you need a guy at the end of this year, Schaefer is your guy.
Who's your top outfield prospect in general coming out of the minors, excluding these 2 guys?
Right, you're going to like it because it's a Gator.
Nice. Matt Laporta?
Exactly.
Right.
Hey, you know your baseball. Matt Laporta is the #1 outfield prospect in baseball right now because of that slugging that he can provide for the Brewers, maybe even the second half of this year. I think by next year, spring training at least, he's going to be a potential starter, so you could use him in all fantasy leagues. If he gets the call later this year, pick him up in all fantasy leagues. A lot of potential there. Now, a lot of people are looking at Matt Gemmel's stats and think he's the better prospect because of the way he's slugging right now.
Boo.
But I think Laporta is actually helping Gemmel's numbers. Laporta is the big reason for Gemmel's big increase this year. Gemmel wasn't a huge prospect until Laporta shared time with him, shared at bats with him in Double-A. So I think Laporta's your man. And another prospect, Cameron Maben, obviously with that speed that he has.
My money's always on the Gator.
No.
Go Gators. I just picked up McPherson.
Homer.
This is from Nick Valentine of New Mexico. He just picked up McPherson on Florida. He wants to know if there any inside scoop. He is killing it in AAA. What does he do?
Well, McPherson obviously is a guy that doesn't belong in AAA anymore. He had a 7-game homer streak last year. That's a record setter in AAA. And he has 28 homers right now. That leads the world in home runs. He belongs in the major leagues. He missed all of last year with that back problem. It hasn't been an issue this year. The problem being now with calling him up is he's not very good at with the glove, and he strikes out quite a bit. So you're going to get a lot of power but a lot of strikeouts with Dallas McPherson. But if I was running the Marlins, I would call him up. I think McPherson can help. Even if they like Jorge Cantu at third base, I think he's better than Mike Jacobs long-term at first base. Jacobs is a converted catcher. McPherson can move from third to first, and I think you should go with McPherson in the second half.
I can't imagine why you're not running the Marlins. You know, it's just it's bizarre. But the Marlins actually are leading the MLB in homers. So where is their motivation in calling up McPherson? They're doing pretty well in that stat, lacking in some other areas though, which is why they're not in first.
Well, the object is to outscore your opponents, right? To score more runs, and hitting homers actually helps you do that. So McPherson can help the Marlins. The Marlins are going to need help at some point. The problem being his bad glove doesn't fit with what the Marlins need to fix, their defense. But at first base, like I said, Jacobs is really not a gem defensively.
Drinking some Mike Jacobs haterade, I'm pretty sure. All right, Eric, thank you for all of your advice. That'll do it for us for now. Keep your mouths right here at CBSSports.com for everything you need to know in the world of sports. And if you missed anything here today, stop, refresh, and rewatch. For Eric Mack, I'm Amber Wilson.